gets to actually have an oppressive laning phase, when he really gets to punish. But I do think the pick right now hasn't really been that convincing recently, as the Cassante comes
here
through
on the potential opportunity for a chance to go after Caps, but
yeah,
Caps
I mean,
playing
you are
towards that other side.
as Skewmon.
Oh, Skewmon might just be able to turn this one around. Gigo in some trouble this time around. Top lane's not looking the same as game one, and it's first blood over the Broken Blade.
Good bait set up by Broken Blade there. Able to flash away out of the W. Still gets his stun off on the back end as well. And then Skewmon shows up just in time. And meanwhile, not a fan of this mid lane gank. Tatu, you are a pre-6 Wukong. You just unfortunately don't do that much. A Corki, one of the reasons why he can't play so aggressive is because of the build-in safety that he has with Valkyrie. Caps didn't even need to flash. Hans and Labrov did use their sum, so I imagine we missed a scuffle in the bot lane. So yeah, that's how we got to play Corki. Just got to jump right on top of him. But no cleanse, no heal does mean that at level 6 we could
decently soon time frame himself, should get it after a couple more minions.
Still no ultimate available here for Tatu. It's close, but this is 3 people in the lane. Skewmon's also there.
Yeah, this is going to be a 3v3, and immediately Labrov gets targeted. Exhaust down to Hans Sama as Skewmon finds the counter engage onto Tatu, who has to flash out of the Wukong. Skewmon getting the better of Tatu in the jungle matchup this game.
No one ends up dying, but it's still, I think G2 pretty happy with that. And it's again, these ganks to come through as, there it is, there's no ult for Broken Blade.
Yeah, Gigo's going all out. Pathmaker to try to buffer through the counter-strike. Broken Blade getting away. Gigo tries to flash forward for the Intofo strike. Toots is coming up to try to cut off Broken Blade's escape route. Realm Warp gets him in range. Toots is there. He binds him up in the Rune Prison. The last auto attack gets it done. And Toots evens up the score.
See if the cancel can be really a kill opportunity there. There is on the cross map though, good amount of pressure, but oh, Tatu, instead of going for Dragon, it looks like he's trying to go for the counter punch. There is, I think, a counter strike available, so we'll see if BB can outplay this.
Yeah, this is pretty dangerous. Jack's very effective at defending against these types of situations. Gigo is about to die to the turret, he barely gets away. Tatu needs a little bit more distance to close on the Broken Blade, and he finds it finally there with that last Q. So Furia gets their man. Gigo barely survives. That's a 2-1 game now for the side of Furia, but it does come at the cost of G2 Esports claiming all 3 grubs on the other side of the map. Now Skewmon firing off the ulti, wants to catch Gigo with it. Pathmaker to try to buffer through the CC. Cassante's tanky, but he's only got 50 health. And Skewmon brings him down to tie this game up at 2-2.
Feels like Gigo could have maybe left. Gigo is in a great position when it comes to gold advantage, thanks to the CSing and the plates. So he did, he did get the plate. So I guess that maybe he would call worth on that one, as the Dragon is going to come over here.
Is plus 125 gold to go more towards tank? Just rely on everybody else on the team. I think between Corki, Varus, and Jax, you have plenty of damage.
This is also, right there, is one of the big advantages that Varus has, right? Particularly with lethality. You can always play pretty far up, because they need to respect, because you are still strong in the all-in.
Yep.
And they don't really know where the members are as a flank on Jojo here. He's in deep trouble.
Yeah, Jojo's about to have a bad time. He tries to flash away, so at least Labrov can't knock him the other direction. But meanwhile, the Bramble Smash from Skewmon's going to do the same job anyway. Feat of Warfare claimed for the 2nd game in a row by G2. In both games, it was a 3-2 count on the kills. And now IU is stranded in a 1 versus 3. You're against an Alistar that's got an ultimate. This tower dive from G2 could be deadly, but IU survives as Gigo
have his spidey senses tingle a little bit.
Doesn't make sure
flash.
Detecting this, especially if Tatu can time the Cyclone correctly to interrupt the Valk as Caps tries to get away. It could be absolute disaster for the G2 mid laner here, but it looks like Caps wise to what might be going on, stepping away for now. Gigo stepping forward, going for the 3rd Intofo strike, not going to hit that one. Caps tries to Valk out, but now immediately with the Pathmaker, Gigo going in while Toots is in a 1v2 down to the bottom lane at the same time. Caps is going to be killed off first. Now, Toots, flash over the wall, Broken Blade ready to follow, finds the stun, but he's Rune Prism
Phase
up.
rush.
Toots makes it back over towards the turret. Phase rush, and Broken Blade with the flash at the last second to guarantee that he hits him with the empowered bonk and takes him out. A 1-for-1 across the rift.
Big cross map there. Looks like G2 this time not going to go for the Battle of the Boots, just going to claim them straight up towards this bot side of the map. And G2 says, okay, Broken Blade, we get it. They're paying a lot of attention. We're going to give you some love.
Yeah.
As the play towards the bot side, it does end up working out. Yes, Caps does. Even with the kills, even with the first turret bot, as you highlighted. Broken Blade
boy.
still fine as the TP comes through. There's a lot of people here, though.
Yeah, remember, Labrov with the Alistar ultimate. This is a powerful turret dive, but not when you go in that early. Labrov just barely gets away. It's all calculated by G2 with a full 5-man stand. JoJo steps away from the chains of corruption, right back in to Broken Blade's waiting arms, and G2 is not making the mistakes from game 1 again.
It was a bit quizzical when Labrov just went in when the wave was about to crash, but the timing ends up working out. There is enough support from the rest of the team. The damage comes through, and Gigo didn't have TP, so there's no way for him to join. We had the full 5-man rotation because Hans also, I think, just walked from mid lane towards the top end of the map. And if this Einer falls as well, even if he ends up dying, which I don't think is a given, Jack's obviously quite slippery.
Yeah.
Wukong, they'll be able to get him. It'll take a while, but that doesn't matter. I think that the trade is 100% worth it, although the Dragon will most likely go over to FURIA.
Yeah, it was a lot of money from a tier 2 turret. You are going to get a good amount from the shutdown as well. You will get it onto the rise.
Oh, never mind. Okay, if you get Dragon as well, it's like... Because the shutdown, that's a bit rough, but if you don't lose Dragon, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, Hafen does have both Rise and the Rel, who's now low enough HP that he has to reset. Means that G2 has control over this bottom side river, has control over the Drake. Once again, Chronicler, we are at a 1-to-1. Turning into Seraph's Embrace. His Rod of Ages is also at 8 out of 10 stacks. So here in 2 minutes, Toots is just going to have a massive power spike with that Rod of Ages alongside the Seraphs. Rise will be very powerful, and again, I have to give credit to Hans. We're always seeing these piercing arrows find Ayu as JoJo wanted to make the engage. Toots immediately realm warps into his own demise. He's got to be careful about this, but as Tatu's now going to be taken very low. Toots trying to provide a little bit more damage to the Broken Blade as Tatu is in full retreat. Toots wanted to deliver his jungler into the enemy lines, but as Tatu is caught out of position, he is forced to retreat.
Ooh, I think FURIA should be happy that that didn't end up going worse. That was a very scattered engage because Hans was able to flash. JoJo didn't quite catch him off guard. Now the flash being down for Hans, that's a big win. That's something. Stay alive despite everything. And G2 not able to find a counter kill, but I don't really think that they need to. Again, as long as they get to go for these counter engages, they're going to be happy.
Yeah, they might still find their counter kill here as JoJo's already down to half HP. That rail is not long for this world. Broken Blade's already got him. Tatu's dead next. And now with Gigo teleporting into 5 players in G2 jerseys, Gigo is going straight into the ground. G2 just crushed FURIA.
In the previous play, FURIA was able to slip away. This time around, not so much. G2 found the front line, not ready for this many people to be there, and able to both get the kills, get the Otacon as well, and
the Ayu there, forcing him to essence shift back over to safety, as G2 just has total control still over this bottom side river, over this Drake pit. Easy enough for AP Maokai to just burst this thing down fast enough. Not insanely quick.
There is so much counter engage available on G2, and if you are aware of where everyone on FURIA is, it's really hard for them. Again, we keep going back to this. There are not a lot of good targets on G2.
There's Han Sama. That's about it.
Yeah, well,
So,
I mean, if it caps like
movements that FURIA might try to make.
And that's G2 now. It's very straightforward. Just keep starting Baron, and every time they come out, poke them off. The only thing you want to avoid at all cost is an actual flip. It's really hard to reliably deny access to Tatu, although if you just put him to like half health this early on,
that'll work. I mean, JoJo goes in, but where's the follow-up? True Shot Barrage doesn't hit. Hans gets found. Gigo's gonna die at the same time. JoJo engages on the enemy AD carry, but there's nobody else next to him. And FURIA is just all out of sorts here in this second game. G2 perfectly confident to stay in the position they're in, to continue forcing FURIA back out of the jungle. And now, with the enemy top laner down, with that Cassante front line no longer a threat, now G2 start up the Baron and dare FURIA to stop them.
Oh, that's a creative angle that we see here from Tatu on the Wukong. It does get spotted though. I don't think he's going to be an opportunity to actually get a steal here. Going all the way around is, oh, JoJo.
Yeah, JoJo is out of there.
They know, yeah, you see the pings coming down. Like, they are aware that he's behind them. He was spotted earlier on.
Ayu gets out, Toots gets out, but getting out is all they're going to get because the rest of G2, they've just got control over the Bear Pit. Tatu trying to be a man on a mission, but the only mission now is survive. Tatu will have to use his Cyclone to disengage. Broken Blade keeps on the chase. He's just going to force
Behind
Tatu.
because it's already hard to regain any semblance of control against a team like G2 as Ayu.
Oh boy. Yeah, that Maokai ulti's not going to give him anywhere to go. Trying to pop the cleanse to get out of it. But Broken Blade is powerful on the Jax in this second game. And Han Sama's chains barely miss on Jojo, but Labrov ready to follow it up here with the pulverize into the headbutt. That's 2 for G2, and now it might just be something back for FURIA. Gigo wants caps, but he has to trade his life to find it. 3 for 1 across the rift, as now it's only Toots and Tatu to try to defend, but they're nowhere near the lane being pushed, Chronicler. The tier 3 turret in bottom is already fallen. The inhibitor is the next target. It's 2 Baroned up cannon minions. It's the Rift Herald power, the Void Grub power, making sure that these structures fall that much faster as Tatu and Toots. The best thing they can do is...
or trying to play the game truly becomes a nightmare, particularly with the amount of poke that's available. Like every single sapling, every single Corky rocket.
They've controlled pretty much everything, starting off with Scumon's gank in the top lane for the first blood, then the counter gank in bottom to stop any chance of Tatu turning things around there. Toots just having to use the Realm Warp to try to get away to safety, as now Scumon's ready to follow it yet again. Here comes the Nature's Grasp, immediately ready to lock up Jojo. The Rel once again beaten down before any effect can truly happen, as Scumon tries to get away. G2 backing out, waiting for their cooldowns, as FURIA continues to look for something, but Labrov is creating space. Hans backing back up again as Ayu gets the shutdown into Labrov, but Gigo is not strong enough to truly threaten the back line. G2 have lost their support, but they take out the enemy top and support at the same time. Toots wants caps. He doesn't find him yet. Toots stuck inside the hourglass, and his time's run out. Tatu trading with Scumon as the AP Maokai finally falls there to the Wukong, but it does not matter. Toots was the only one left standing on FURIA. Oh boy, I don't think he's going to keep standing for much longer either. Broken Blade stopping him from getting away with a Hex Gate, and Broken Blade gets the last kill for the delayed ace, as Jojo is so far behind it.
For a decent amount of this play, it just doesn't really matter, right? They're able to take down Jojo very, very quickly. And then here it looks like maybe a turn is imminent, but actually taking that
he's going to bed. Might have a little bit of a headache in the morning after that Ignite, but
also after the the soul point.
Yeah,
the Baron up as well.
It's rough. It's rough.
A little bit.
About 10 seconds here on the Baron. Broken Blade, however, getting caught out a little bit, but he's still not dead. Tatu wants to follow, but he goes straight into the dirt instead. It was all calculated by Broken Blade.
Maybe he applies side lane pressure, but he calls people, or he pulls people over, right? That's all that really matters. This is again going to perfectly set up the Dragon, basically the same time as before, but this time it will lead to Soul getting picked up, Hextech Soul. If the previous fights weren't really an indication, G2 is very committed to playing this one out by the book. They are not taking any risks, they're not taking any gambles, they are going to very slowly and very steadily just get away. And I think that's understandable, right? Given how game one plays out, if you somehow lose this game, you're gonna mental poop, right? Like that is... That's not something that I think you can generally come back from. Jojo, I think, unfortunately, is still alive for a little bit.
I don't think that little bit's going to be a whole lot longer, however, as he uses Magnet Storm. Might as well. By the time you're back alive, you'll have it again anyway. Hextech Dragon doing a little bit of damage onto the roster of FURIA as Broken Blade goes for the flank yet again. Ayu trying to escape as the Realm Warp gets Toots back to safety, but Broken Blade already has the stasis ready to go to buy enough extra time. Turn it around, guarantee the unstoppable kill there onto Gigo as the piercing arrow. I praised him throughout the whole game, and that's a great example why Han Sama is not missing on this Varus.
And the B1 picks, back-to-back, end up being huge. It was the Talia in game one for FURIA. It's the Varus in game two for G2, but obviously Broken Blade having an infinitely better game this time around. The team, they gave him a little bit more help, and he paid them back.
Yeah, Broken Blade here in the front line now. Finally drops. The shutdown goes over to JoJo. It ain't gonna matter. FURIA dropping like flies at the steps of their own fountain. G2 come back with a vengeance. And 34 minutes in, they're gonna take their win and tie up this series in Game 2.